And what's been the biggest problem with that new program?
I think one thing is the deep learning curve. If you were to look at this old system that currently exists, people had learned how to make it work.
Right.
The old system didn't even have drop-down menus, right? Like, you're so used to clicking file and going to something. The old system did not have that. Things were buried inside of plus signs that you had to like know where everything was. So some of it is learning the new system that is more intuitive, and it looks like a modern web solution. So some of that has been learning curve, and then learning curve, and learning curve. Good morning, Thomas Lambert, Department of Education.
Good morning, Meredith Jordan, Department of Education.
We're here to provide a brief update on the switch from our old legacy SER system to the eSER enhanced special education reporting system. We wanted to just provide a few key pieces of information and then answer any questions, provide any additional information that you all may ask. So the eSER system replaces a system that's about 20 years old, that had significant components to it that were no longer able to be supported, and posed a security risk. Particularly around the code base that it was built based off of had no longer been supported by Microsoft since 2014, and it was a system that could only work in Internet Explorer, which you may on your computer no longer have Internet Explorer. Microsoft stopped supporting it this past summer. It officially reached the end of its life. So we were increasingly reaching a place where we could no longer continue to support the system, in addition to because we couldn't update the code, but also because the design was such that it was very old and computers were no longer going to have the browser that is used in order to utilize it. So I believe in 2020, the process began to start enhancing and rebuilding the system so that we would be in a place where we would not have systems unable to use it because they no longer had the browser and the browser was no longer supported, working with the same vendor who built it originally and has been supporting it since its inception about 20 years ago.
Do you have any opening comments, ma'am?
Sure. Meredith Jordan, Department of Ed. Just also wanted to add on to what Mr. Lambert was stating, that we know that school systems have not lost any funding due to this this system update. We know that was a concern. School systems have already received their IGA funding for this year, and so no funding has been lost with that regard. And we felt it was important to release this system at the beginning of this school year because of the reasons that Mr. Lambert stated, as well as it gives us some lead time into their February 1 count, which will determine their next level of funding for the following school year. So students continue to receive services. There were no break in services for any students with disabilities as a result of this system.
Okay, and so you can assure the committee that no school system lost funding as a result of the?
That is correct.
Okay. Senator Mizell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this because I've gotten emails on this, okay? And I think this gives us an opportunity to better understand what's happened. I really want to feel good about it, okay? So tell me, you're saying that nobody lost funding, so all the special ed children were counted as needed to be counted in the school systems.
So there's some federal funding technicalities that I'll let Ms. Jordan speak to, but the count for the next round of funding hasn't even happened yet. The count day officially is October 1st. There is a long window in which school systems can go in and update their data. It's normally a month and about 10 days. We extended it to about 2 months and 10 days. So that won't even close until later in December. I believe December 16th is the date that we extended it to from November 11th. And the as of date has to be when the student was receiving services, not when it was in the data system. So long as the school system was providing services as of the count day, which they can do, and they do through paper IEPs, all of those types of processes that they all know how to do quite well, and put it into the system ahead of December 16th, there will be no impact to funding, and we will monitor it closely.
So as long as they have it in by December 16th,
That is correct.
and since this is a new system, is there some comfort that you all have that the local districts know how to make sure that's going to be done in a timely way? I mean, when did they start working the system? Because I'm told there was no pilot, that it just kind of got given to them, and there was no time to kind of adjust. Just like we've heard that in every conversation today, the time it takes to adjust to a new system. So are you all allowing that adjustment? I mean, is there contact between you all and the local districts that are having, okay, so when the local districts call, there's somebody that's going to address the concerns they have in some immediacy with that?
We receive emails directly from special education teachers, staff at school districts. We respond to those issues. We log them if they are indeed challenges with the system that need to be adjusted, relaxed, resolved. But we communicate directly with them via email and office hours.
And what's been the biggest problem with that new program?
I think one thing is the deep learning curve. If you were to look at this old system that currently exists, people had learned how to make it work.
Right.
The old system didn't even have drop-down menus, right? Like, you're so used to clicking file and going to something. The old system did not have that. Things were buried inside of plus signs that you had to know where everything was. So some of it is learning the new system that is more intuitive, and it looks like a modern web solution. So some of that has been learning curve, and then others have been places where we validate that data so closely. Some of our validations were very strict. We've had moments where folks have told us things that they were trying to do and said, actually, the system is acting the way the system is supposed to act. And they go, well, the old system didn't work that way.
Right.
And we go, well, the new system needs to, because this is a validation that we were running on the back end as opposed to on the front end. So
help me understand. The new system was like just to, I think you said the browser wasn't going to be compatible, none of that. But does it benefit the student? Is the parent of that special ed child or the child going to get better communication, a better way to measure progress? Or is it just kind of an administrative thing?
It functions mostly as an administrative component for tracking of special education data.
But does it take less time from the teacher to do it than it did before?
I would expect that it will over time. The new code base that it's built on gives us more opportunities for automation and support and making it easier to do things. The old system was very hard to update because, as we said, the platform that it was built on has been deprecated since 2014. So there are more opportunities now to invest in improvements and enhancements as opposed to keeping the system running.
So it would make me feel better if you all were asking for feedback from the people using the system, working with the children, talking to the parents, and that way we'd know that it was a two-way street. I think so much of, I'm not kidding you, every committee I'm in, they're putting in something new. Sometimes it takes forever. Sometimes it's very quickly done. But at the end of the day, it's a huge investment in time and money that we want to see something improved afterward. So, and here, you got a real opportunity to make that environment a better. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate your time with the answers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is the new system owned by the state? Is it bought and paid for already?
Yes, sir. We built it. OTS will have the code.
Great. Okay. Good news. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Seeing no questions, no further questions. I want to thank you all for coming today. And just to piggyback on what Senator Mizell said, just work with these different systems so that they could actually understand it. And the key thing for me was that we have not lost any federal dollars, and you have said we have not. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.